So, Punpun 6, here we are. I can't believe I read that volume that fast, but I guess I read 200 pages last night just because I'm enthralled by how Punpun is a very slow story. There are so many pages, especially in this volume, I think there's about like 6 pages where it's just one character's movement. Um, and it's going for an effect, and that's cool. But there's just so many pages of just like the setting and the setting. I wouldn't even say they really contribute to the atmosphere. There are just so many full page setting shots, like panels. I don't know all the manga terms, but like there's just so much fucking wasted panels of showing us the setting, and I think it's like 30% of the panels feel like they're just setting shots where like Aiko and Pun Pun are like moving around the city and just nothing with the story. Like, I don't know, I guess let's get into what happens. So Pun Pun and Aiko, they get back together, and then Aiko's like she wants to run away, so then they go over to Aiko's mom's house because Pun Pun's like, oh, any mom would care about that. We gotta go tell your mom. I'll go with you to support you that you want to like leave the house, right? And then we get there, and Pun Pun's mom or Aiko's mom is like in Aiko's high school schoolgirl outfit, and she's like clearly streaming on a laptop, and Aiko's mom is just a manipulative soy cow. Like, Aiko says she's gonna move away, and then Aiko's mom's like, "Oh, well, I'll get the tea," and then she's like, "No, I'll have to start doing this soon." So she starts crawling away because like Aiko's mom, she pretends that her legs don't work to like guilt trip Aiko into doing more things for her. So while she's crawling away, you can see like her panties are at her like thighs. So like clearly Aiko's mom, when Aiko is supposed to be at work, um, gets on streaming websites because there was a camera pointed at Aiko's mom. So like it seems like she does some e-girl stuff, being very lewd, and Aiko's mom comes back with the tea, but then she's like hiding a knife behind a magazine and then attacks Pun Pun, and Pun Pun kind of like fights her back, and then but kind of gets like hit away, and then I think Pun Pun gets slashed, and then Aiko gets like stabbed hard in the stomach. And it's pretty bad, although later on then it's not that bad, and they never go to the hospital. So then Pun Pun like just starts choking her and like chokes her out. And then Pun Pun goes because there's like a knock at the door, and it's a delivery man. And Pun Pun opens the package, and it's like a fucking dildo, like a real crazy dildo. And when we get back in, you can kind of tell that it looks like Aiko's like stabbing her mom. Like she's already dead, but she's just like making sure she's like double dead. I don't know, in case she's a zombie. And then Pun Pun and Aiko are basically like on the run, but they're not smart about it. Like the only reason they're on the run is because their plan was to like move away, and they never talk about like their plan at all. Like specifically about like what the fuck they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it, things like that. They're just like moving places, and then the manga, that they're going places because the manga shows you, but like they just don't talk. And then at one point they're at some place, and Pun Pun looks at two girls' butts, and then Aiko like comes up right after, and then they're in the restaurant or something, and Aiko's like, "Oh, like let me gouge out one of your eyes. You only need one eye to see me." And then Pun Pun's like, "Yeah, go ahead and do it, and you got to go deep." And like, I don't know if Pun Pun actually got his eye gouged out, because like after that he has like a bandage over his eye, so maybe it was just like poked his eye. But I think there was blood. I don't know. It's just the most. Nothing in the manga is this stupid up to this point. Like the manga in the beginning, there were a few adult characters, and they would have these moments where they just like were acting kind of crazy. But like that didn't feel like a consistent theme in the manga of people just like secretly being crazy. And that is still isn't a consistent theme. It just seems that characters are acting crazy because the plot needs somebody to act crazy in order for things to happen. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's very stupid. So that's like the main plot. The B plot is Sachi is trying to come to terms with, like, I guess her feelings for Punpun, and then like trying to find out like where he is. She's like talking to all of Punpun's friends and contacts, and she even talks to the girl that Punpun went on a date and attempted to rape, or like attempted to do something with her. I mean, didn't get really that far, but it was definitely like an attempted sexual something assault. And that girl says, "Oh, I think he's just really nice," or something. And it's like, this is a peak men writing women moment. Like, there's no fucking way, no fucking absolute fucking way that she says that in 1,000 fucking years. Bull fucking shit. Get a real writer. Stop being a fucking virgin. If you make manga, you need to have interactions with people before you make a manga. I'm so sick of reading these mangas written by incel virgins who have no life experience, who just make up how humans react in ways that just don't make any fucking sense at all. It is so fucking stupid. So, yeah, as you can imagine, I don't like Volume 6. It's pretty fucking bad in terms of just the story making any fucking sense at all or having any kind of payoff. And then actually, it makes the previous volumes worse. And the reason is Sachi goes and she talks to all these people, and what we find out is that Punpun was like really invested in a lot of other people's lives. Like Punpun, and we hear, I think, that Punpun was visiting his landlord when he was in the hospital or the nursing home. Punpun called his uncle and talked to about like them introducing them to a girl, presumably Sachi. We find out all these things that Punpun had been doing to improve his life and to get somewhere, and just we find out all these things that he's been doing. The problem is we didn't see any of those things, and that would have made a more interesting story. And instead, we're told those things. And I know what the author is doing. The author is trying to have Sachi have this moment, and the audience as well have this kind of soft moment where we're changing our perspective of Punpun, and we're also changing our perspective of Punpun to be more sympathetic at a moment when he supposedly just killed somebody. The problem is that it retroactively makes the previous volumes fucking stupid and boring, because rather than what we got, we now know what we were missing out on the whole time, which is like Punpun doing things. Like, I think the best part of some of the recent volumes is when Punpun is like he's like doing the driving courses. Like, he has a place that he goes to. It has a story that's linear, that's followable. But instead, we just don't really see that. We just see like little glimpses into the life. It's like the manga is told from like a second person, sometimes omniscient, when like your perspective, you know everything as the audience, and sometimes you know less than the characters that are. So it's really fucking hard to parse out what the fuck's going on sometimes. And the ironic thing is like nothing really that interesting is happening, so I'm not really invested in figuring it out. And I have to make this comment. I don't think I said it in any of the other like discussions, but I cannot stand the speech bubbles. This author always has his speech bubbles on the left and right side of the manga, regardless of who's talking, and the arrows never consistently indicate who's actually talking. It's infuriating. I tolerated it for a while, but I'm so fucking sick of how dude, it's not an arbitrary thing. When you have two characters talking, you need to indicate who is talking. Why is it so hard? I don't understand. Oh, okay. Anyway, so what's the culmination? Basically, Sachi meets up with the uncle character, Punpun's uncle, and he is like, "You're just like Punpun's mom. here is Punpun's dad's address, maybe go to him. And then she goes to him, and then she gets like some bullshit about Punpun that maybe isn't even accurate. And then she leaves and she's like, oh, I know I need to protect Punpun. I need to take care of her. I need to be his like mommy GF. So like Sachi at the end of the volume is like emboldened to become Punpun's mommy GF. She like cut her hair, so now she's looking like she looks like she sucks 10 dicks before morning coffee is what she looks like. And while that's going on, Punpun and Aiko are just like wandering around from place to place. His money's getting low. He goes to a convenience store and he picks up a manga magazine, and he sees Sachi's, up and coming star manga person. And he asks the person next to him, like, oh, like, what do you think of this manga? Is it good? And it's like, it's probably like, I'm pretty sure it's in like a female manga magazine, and you're asking a guy, like, of course he's probably gonna say like, no, it's fucking lame, or so he's like, oh no, it's really boring or something. So then Punpun follows that guy outside the convenience store, and he's like harassing him because he didn't like throw away his soda can. And then Punpun just gets a stick and starts hitting him in the face, and then Aiko finds him and is like, no, stop killing people. And then Punpun kind of says a similar lie that his dad said, which is, he came at me with a cinder block, like, you gotta believe me, which is what Punpun's dad said to him when Punpun's dad hit his mom. And Punpun's dad was more justified in hitting Punpun's mom than Punpun was justified in hitting that guy who didn't like Sachi's manga. Because Punpun's mom had two weapons and was saying that she was going to kill Punpun and herself. So, yeah. Then after that, Punpun and Aiko go to an island, some island, and they go to the beach, and they're all like really happy. And it turns out the beach that they're at is the beach that Punpun was having visions of when he was like in middle school, of seeing Aiko and like having this like kind of unfulfilled, obligation or whatever to Aiko. So they go to the beach where he was having those visions of Aiko, and they get there, they have like a little moment, and then Punpun's just like, okay, like, I can't, I'm at my limit, time to kill you now. It's interesting, the translation that they chose for this manga, because they use the wrong past tense sometimes, so it sounds like broken English. It's very rare. It happens like, I think I can think of like 3 times it happens. And they also use like MTL translations instead of like localizing some phrases. So one of the phrases that I've seen in MTL is "I'm at my limit," which is I've heard in Japanese it's clearly some kind of phrase. I don't really know the particulars of it, but it's a phrase that you can like change into English and still have the same meaning, or even a more understandable meaning. And I think a better phrase would just be like, I can't take it anymore, is what you would normally say in English. Like, I'm at my limit is something when you would say maybe when you're in a really like kind of like heated exchange that's like getting more and more, and it's like, I'm at my limit, like we need to pull back. But the way they say it in this just sounds like MTL, like machine translated. It doesn't feel like they actually chose the best words for the translation there. That's just my opinion. I don't actually know Japanese. I can just point out when I see things that are MTL translated that you clearly went to like the literal translation, or like the closest thing that MTL would give you. And sometimes MTL is fine, but sometimes it's really shit. And like, I don't know. I guess I'm talking about this a little too much, but anyway, Punpun then like is, I'm gonna kill you, and then Aiko's like, no, don't kill me, because like then you're gonna die. Like, I always knew that you're gonna kill yourself. Like, I can't leave you because I'm afraid you're gonna kill yourself. And then Punpun's like, she's like basically telling him, yeah, go on and kill me and go on and live a happy life. And then there's this moment where like she's like trying to tell him like, he's saying like, I'm a killer, I can't continue to live because I killed somebody, like how can I go on living? And then Aiko is like, no, you're not a killer. Like, when you left to go get the delivery guy, my mom actually got back up, and then I stabbed her, and I kept stabbing her, like she was actually alive, like I killed my mom. And they had this back and forth, and this is one of the times where something very unique happens in the manga. It is not drawn in any significant way, but this is something where I don't think it's ever happened before in the manga and may never happen again, is that in the last few volumes, Punpun is always talked in black boxes. So there'll be a black box panel, and it will just have the text that Punpun is either thinking or what he's saying. And in this instance, Punpun says, I pulled it up here just so I could get it right. He says, "No, you're lying. I'm the killer." And Aiko's words are in that box. Nowhere else I think this actually happens. And then she says, "No, I'm not lying. You haven't done anything." And that kind of like breaks through into him. And then they kind of like have a moment again on the beach. Like their relationship is just all over the fucking place. Like every other thing, like Aiko's like asking like, "Oh, are you gonna kill me?" Or Aiko's like, "Oh, I need to kill you" or something. It's just very weird. It doesn't seem like it comes from any place of like makes any fucking sense at all, like any kind of rationality. Like it's just like, oop, Aiko's asking to cut out Punpun's eye now, like whatever. And then they're laying there, and then Punpun says like, dear God, Tinklehoy," and then the god appears in his eye, and like, so does he have a real eye? Like, does he have his eye there, or did they actually scrape out his eye in the restaurant? Like, I doubt they fucking actually did that. But then the god is in his eye, and he's like, "I'm back, you know what to do," or whatever. And then Punpun and Aiko are like getting their lives together on the island. Punpun is like signing up for like a car or a cell phone, I think, and he's doing that. And then Aiko is at the tourist board place, and she's finding a job. And then like some person's like, "Oh, well, you can work on this farm, and they'll give you room and board and stuff." And then it's like she's real happy. And then as that's happening, there's a news broadcast that's going on that's saying that they found Aiko's mom, and they found the car, and so they're looking for Aiko Tanaka. And what do we see Punpun putting down for the cell phone is Aiko Tanaka. Now that's where the volume ends. I forgot the C plot. So there's the A plot, Punpun and Aiko, basically escaping the scene of the crime. And then you have the B plot of Sachi and her trying to like come to terms with her feelings and like find where Punpun is. Also, that Sachi's chapters are written very poorly. The characters, Sachi's friends in the previous volume tell her that she's being too selfish with Punpun. Now they tell her that she needs to be honest with her feelings. Like, there is just no consistency with what they tell her in terms of directing her behavior towards one action or another. It's very fucking stupid. So the writing there is inconsistent, which could be by design. People are not wholly consistent individuals. That's fine. I totally recognize that. But the problem is that when you're writing something, unless you're writing a very complex story, your side characters need to be a little bit one note and consistent, because otherwise the side characters are just stand-ins for plot points to move the plot along, and they're not actual people. So I feel like in this volume, the side characters fall further into the background of just plot points, and no character better exemplifies this action than Seki. Seki shows up for like, I think 2 chapters in this whole volume. And basically he accepts a job to press a button, and from the sounds of it, it sounds like the job is that he's going to press a button that's going to blow up a building. That's what it sounds like, because the person who's given them this job is the basically second in command of that like cult group, and he's actually the one who's been like manipulating Pegasus down like certain paths, and Pegasus is like breaking into people's homes and just telling them stupid things and just being ridiculous. It's really stupid. And also we find out that the second in command guy with the bandana, I think his name is Wada, he actually was grooming the character who killed his whole family and then hid their bodies at the factory from volume 1. I'm not really sure the purpose. Anyway, all the cult was gathered around together to commit seppuku. They were gonna all drink some tea, and then someone's like, "No, don't drink the tea, oh my god." And then Wada, the character who is paying Seki to press a button, he's like, oh, you know, it would have been nice to go together, but you're all still going to have the same result. And he's like pouring out gasoline, and then he's like lighting the place on fire, and it like blows up. It explodes in the distance. And we see that from Seki's perspective, because Seki is at Wada's mom's house, and the button that he's being paid to press is the button on the remote to turn the TV on for Wada's mom, because Wada's going to be dead and he won't be able to turn the TV on for her. So that's what happens for Seki. Why have a C plot with a character who has no impact on the main plot, who just takes away from the main, like, just, it's just poor writing. Like, if you can't incorporate something into the main plot, then either don't have it or have it pay off. It's 3 fucking volumes now, I'm pretty sure, with these characters, and they're nothing. None of them have paid off at all. Why? They spent like a whole chapter introducing each of these characters. And for what? They never mattered. I still don't. The only person's name I remember is Butt Hamburger. And I couldn't even pick out Butt Hamburger in a lineup if you put them all in a row. I only remember that Butt Hamburger was a girl. Like, and then there was another girl named Pussy Galore or something. Like, it just, why waste time with this shit? I hate it. I don't know. I think the only reason I'm reading it now is because I know how it ends. Like, I was spoiled for the ending of Punpun, like, because of the A board on 4chan. Like, that's the image that they always post, is the one of big spoilers. I'm not going to say it here, but I'll say it in the next one. And at this point, it seems like that's a better option than where people are going. I don't know. It's not good. I don't know. This, the forced drama, the forced violence, the forced everything, characters behaving in ways that we've never seen them behave in before. It's all fucking stupid. It's all very, very fucking stupid. And so I guess the final setup for Volume 7 is Sachi going to be able to redeem Punpun, or is Punpun going to die? Is he going to go to jail? What about Aiko and Punpun? Like, how's that going to happen? Because Aiko seems like the fucking kinkiest girl. I think she was trying to fuck Punpun to stop him from killing her, because when Punpun's kind of like making the movements to, like, you know, time to kill you now, she's like, no, let's have sex. Like, even though I think she's still on her period, I kind of forget. It's only been a few days. So, although they do make a point to show her underwear, and it wasn't like there was blood or nothing, but, like, I guess just she not have any, like, feminine hygiene, like they couldn't spare any money for that. Like, I don't know. It's really fucking dumb. Like, all of her panties are, like, fucking bloodied when she's, like, changing her wounds in the convenience store, and this is, like, she's had her period for, like, a few days now, so, like, they really couldn't get any, like, feminine hygiene for her, really? Like, maybe that's just a men writing women moment. Maybe the author, the mangaka, he just doesn't know that women have, like, tampons and pads and things. Like, he's just never met a girl before. That's just what I'm assuming, because I don't know how else to explain the stupidity that kind of goes on with the character's actions. It's just dumb. And the problem is that, like, the unexplainable nature of the early volumes was kind of interesting, because it's interesting to get a perspective of people's lives but not know exactly their motivations, and then trying to figure out their motivations. But that only really works when the characters are doing interesting things. But in this, like, characters are just, the plot is doing things, but the characters are just, they're like leaves in the wind. They're just blown around by the plot, and then they just feel like they're being tortured almost by the plot that the mangaka is forcing on them. It doesn't feel like the characters are actually driving the story at all. Like, things just happen. Much like in real life, I guess, things just happen. But the things that are happening now are so ridiculous that, like, I just can't believe them. Like, it's just fucking, like, it's just fucking goofy and dumb and unrealistic, and just, like, the mom trying to murder them was the dumbest shit ever, and that was just such a forced moment that like makes the whole volume suffer for it, and I just can't get into anything that's happening because that is just so fucking stupid. Like, she's gonna literally murder Aiko's friend and Aiko. Why? Like, what? Like, and I'm not really being disingenuous here. I genuinely, like, oh, she's a part of a cult. Oh, she's pretending to be sick because of her legs. Like, people are not that one dimensional where, like, something bad happens and they just turn into murderous lunatics. Generally. But in this manga, it acts like every person is, like, one step away from just, like, murdering every. It's very stupid. So yeah, I don't know. I rate this volume. Oh my god, something fell on my mouse pad. I rate this volume like a fucking 3 out of 10. It's easy to read because there's so many wasted panels and pages of just setting shit where it's like you just like fly through the fucking manga in like an hour. But boy, it's not going anywhere good, and I doubt it will redeem itself in, I think, Volume 7's last act. God, I hope so. I hope it doesn't go on after that. I'll be fucking pissed. Anyway, that's a discussion. Hope you liked it. And if you like Goodnight Punpun and I triggered you, get fucked. It's not good. You're stupid. I'm not here to coddle your shit opinion. I'm objectively fucking right. You're objectively fucking wrong. And also, I can prove it too because I didn't save this, but there's a panel where Aiko's face, like her ear. Oh yeah, here it is. It's on page 444. Oh my god. Oh, this isn't updating very well. Oh yeah, it's 444. Aiko's drawn and her ear is in the right place from a side profile, and then she turns her face and then they draw her ears are down here. Her ears are right here. Can you I have to add this right now actually. I think I can. Let me I'm just going to show this. So ignore this part of the video where I'm doing live editing. I need to pull this up because look, oh shit. Let's do cancel. Okay, now we do that. Grab this. Look at this shit. You're not going to believe it. It's going to be worth it, trust me. So we save as bunch of text. Okay, now I grab the image. Change browse over here. There it is. And so look at this shit. Look at that ear. Look at that. You're telling me. Oh, how do I go to see? Look at that shit. Look at that ear. Why is it down by her fucking chin? What the fuck? Oh, man. Yep, this is exactly the quality I expect from Goodnight Punpun. So, yeah, get fucked, losers. Manga sucks. It's going bad. It's getting bad. Any manga that goes after 100 chapters is dog shit except Gans. Blow me.